This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, let's get into the mailbag, everybody. This is the WWE Podcast. It is Wednesday, January 24th, 2024, so 1/24/24, and we have a lot to get to tonight with the mailbag. Royal Rumble, obviously, this Saturday night. So much that I know you guys are going to want to say after the event, and when the actual review show does drop, of course, send me your reactions. I mean, you don't have to wait until the mailbag. If you want me to get some reactions from you guys right away, I can try to do that on my review show that'll take place probably early Sunday or midday Sunday sometime. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to wait that long, honestly. I mean, I may even do a show Saturday night if things are that big or there are big returns, revelations that occur, twists, or what have you. That will be probably done if my energy is at a level that I can do it. I will have some kind of reaction to the show like I did with Survivor Series and CM Punk. I normally just am dead beat tired by the time the show ends, and I wouldn't be at my best to record a show. But if something like that happens, then yeah, I can't help but get to the microphone and give you guys my thoughts. But let's get into the mailbag, and I will try my best to fit everyone in within the hour here. And that means I'm going to have to maybe read a little faster, and I count on you guys to just get to the point in your emails. And speaking of which, let's start with patrons, as patrons always get priority. If you want to join patrons, get priority on this show and get everything ad-free. Check out our free trial right now that's going on for 7 days at patreon.com/WWE Podcast. All right. This is from Frank. He says, it's been a few weeks. I wrote in the mailbag first thing. Did you see Nikki Cross show up on Ivy Niles' match? My picks for the Royal Rumble is Randy wins the title, Cody wins the Rumble, Becky wins the Rumble, Logan Paul keeps his title. Matt, if you were head of creative, how would you set up the Royal Rumble match card? That's all until next time. Everyone's saying WWE Podcast. Yeah. Okay, first of all, I did not see Nikki Cross show up in Ivy Niles' match. I must have missed it. To be honest, I don't think they know what to do with Nikki Cross. They don't have an end game for Nikki Cross. We don't know what the end game is for Nikki Cross. I don't think Nikki Cross knows what the end game is for Nikki Cross. But as far as the Rumble, I'm not going to go with my predictions yet. I don't want to spoil that because that's for the preview and prediction show that's going to be taking place on Friday. So as far as how I would set the Royal Rumble match card, women's Royal Rumble match would go first. Men's Royal Rumble match, I want to say goes last, but I also want to say that it depends on what the plans are for Roman's title. If Roman is dropping the title, then you have that match go on last. Okay, I've said this before, and I stick to it, is that if they be very weary of when the Undisputed Championship Fatal 4-Way happens. The reason is, if the Fatal 4-Way match happens before the men's Royal Rumble match, then you probably have no title change. We might not even get a Rock appearance. Roman locks into a victory. And it's very kind of by the numbers. LA Knight maybe takes the fall, and Roman still is champion. If they do that championship match after the men's Royal Rumble, meaning it actually closes the show, look out. There is a significantly heightened risk of Roman dropping the championship if that match is placed at the very end, and a very strong appearance of The Rock possibly coming out to officially kick things off with Roman Reigns. So the positioning of that title match to me is so important. So I can't say where I'd place it because I don't know what their plans are. Now, you'd have, of course, also thrown in there the United States Championship match, which I'm very invested in, more than I thought I would be with Logan Paul and Kevin Owens. You could put that on second. And so that's probably what I'd do. But thanks so much, Frank. I appreciate it. And enjoy the Rumble. Alrighty. Let's get to, another patron. This is Kyle from New York. And he says, it's time for my Royal Rumble predictions. Let's do this. And guys, I know you're going to provide your Royal Rumble predictions to me. I'm not going to respond to them in a way that's going to say, I agree or I disagree, because kind of defeats the purpose of my preview and prediction show on Friday. So I'm just going to let you say your piece. I can't really react to it, but here we go. First, we have Logan Paul defending the United States Championship against Kevin Owens. I think Logan is retaining to defend at WrestleMania against LA Knight. Next is the Women's Royal Rumble match. I think Bayley is winning instead of Rhea, like she's been saying. She will actually challenge Io Sky at WrestleMania after Damage Control turns on her in the Rumble. Next is the 30-man Royal Rumble match. I think CM Punk is winning to challenge Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. And finally, we have Roman Reigns defending his undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Randy Orton, LA Knight, and AJ Styles in a fatal four-way. I think Roman retains due to the bloodline as usual, but then after the match, The Rock comes out and challenges him to a match at WrestleMania. That's all for this week. I know this one's shorter than normal, but I don't know what else to say that hasn't already been said. This is going to be one of the most exciting and stacked Rumbles of all time, and I'm super excited for it as much as everyone else is. So with that being said, I hope you all enjoy the Royal Rumble, because I know I will. It's my favorite event of the year. Peace. Well, Kyle, thank you, and I will just say to that, solid predictions. Solid predictions. I feel like a jerk because I feel like I want to agree or disagree like I normally would, but I'm trying to suppress my instincts, if that makes sense. Okay, let's get to, of course, another great patron, DJ Kuzmo. He says he's back at it again on the Mailbag show. It's almost here. It's almost here. Just a few days to go till the Royal Rumble. And for the umpteenth time, if I'm the only one that mentioned this, Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling fans, we miss you, and hopefully we get to hear back from you on the next PLE or even WrestleMania's Mailbag. Anyway, with that being said, with only 4 matches on the card, let's get to the all-important Kuzmo Royal Rumble predictions and potential spoilers. Excuse me. So, before we get to that, I want them back too. I will just say, Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling fan, if you're listening, please, we have the listeners are demanding it. All right. So, I mean, to be honest, I hope they still listen, but if they don't, I mean, I did reach out. And you know, I think they just have a lot going on. So they're welcome back anytime. You love them. I love them. They're genuinely good people, and they were a lot of fun to listen to on PLE Mailbag weeks. No doubt about it. I haven't forgot about them. All right. So Kuzmo, what you got? So number 1, the Fatal 4-Way. I'm predicting that Roman Reigns will retain and once again walk to WrestleMania as champion. The question to ponder is, will he leave WrestleMania as champion? Time will tell. The United States Championship match, you're predicting Logan Paul will retain and for the first time walk into WrestleMania as champion. His title reign has only been 2 months old and he has not defended it since winning at Survivor Series. A suitable challenger awaits for him, and it will be interesting to see who will be next. Yeah, I mean, Logan Paul has essentially adopted the Roman Reigns schedule of defending championships. That's some kind of cancer on SmackDown is affecting every heel champion there. The Women's Rumble match. Unlike last year where the clear favorite to win was Rhea Ripley, this year's Women's Rumble has a couple of possible choices to win and lots of diva appearances. But to cut to the chase, I predict that none other than Becky Lynch will win and be in the semi-main event on night 1 against Rhea Ripley. And the final 4 women in the Rumble you're going to predict are Bayley, Becky, Liv, and Bianca. Liv. Interesting. Okay. That's a dark horse pick for a final 4, huh? The Men's Rumble match. To me, I think the finish of this can go 4 different ways. And don't forget, Damian Priest still has the Money in the Bank briefcase, and it is included in this Rumble. The final 4 men you're going to predict are Punk, Cody, Gunther, and a returning Sheamus. But wait a minute. One of those finishes to this Rumble I predict that might happen, which hasn't happened since 1994 and 2005, is that the final 2, Cody and Punk, both touch the floor. causing the match to restart, with Punk countering out of a crossroads and then hitting the GTS on Cody to eliminate him out of the ring, and the winner is CM Punk. Then in a blockbuster trade after the Rumble, LA Knight and Sheamus gets traded to Raw, while Drew and Cody go to SmackDown. Cody gets included in the Elimination Chamber match en route to facing Roman at WrestleMania Night 2, while Punk versus Gunther maybe main event night 1 if Rollins decides to vacate the title, and Gunther wins the Elimination Chamber match en route to facing Punk for that vacated title at WrestleMania. But don't forget about Damian Priest, who still has the briefcase. Sorry I fantasy booked too far. DJ Kuzmo signing off. Enjoy the Rumble. Have a great weekend. Well, that's what wrestling fans do, don't we? We overbook. But it's fun. Why not? You know, who's to tell us we can't overbook and rebook? And I mean, it's just what we do. I have no issue with your theory. I mean, it is thought out, DJ, about the trade with LA Knight coming to Raw and Cody going to SmackDown. No problem there. The only concern about the Rumble with 94 and 2005 was an accident. 2005 wasn't supposed to happen. And I didn't know it was supposed to happen until many, many, many years later, actually. I didn't know. I thought it was part of the story. But 2005 was one of the most freak accidents of all time when it came to Cena and Batista both hitting literally exactly at the same time. It's going to be nearly impossible, even with them as professionals, to hit exactly at the same time, especially in today's world with everyone having a camera in their pocket. Somebody's going to catch an angle that shows, no, Cody's foot clearly hit first. No, Punk's foot clearly hit first. Very difficult to duplicate an exact perfect double elimination. Even if you practice it in a dozen times before the show with the guys, to do it in real time when you're live, it can easily be screwed up because it's something that there's no room for error. There's no room for, well, it can be close. No, it has to be exact, right? It's a finish I would not book because of the level of difficulty of execution, because it has to be perfect. So that's my only concern with it. Other than, I mean, I agree with the concept, but execution is just too difficult. The risk is too high, because more than likely, even with these guys as professionals, they'll probably screw it up. And when I say screw it up, I mean like by fractions of a second, they'll screw it up, which is no slight on them. It's just really difficult. All right. Thank you, DJ. And I do see your Veer Mahan report. We will get to that momentarily. I've downloaded it. All right. So let's then get to another patron, Cameron. And Cameron from Wollongong says, what is going on with Sami Zayn? I know he had some planned time off, but what do you think he will be returning to in terms of a storyline? A chance for him to take down Gunther, Seth? He's my favorite guy to watch wrestle and really want to see him pick up a singles title soon. Well, think about this. So he did wrestle CM Punk at Madison Square Garden. I think the injury is something that he did have and has been resolved. So I think physically he's fine. What I think they're waiting for is a Rumble return. I think Sami Zayn will be in the Royal Rumble. I think he will be a surprise entrant. I think he may even be the one to eliminate the guy that, quote unquote, injured him, Drew McIntyre. I think Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre could go into a heck of a program going into WrestleMania, or involved in some kind of fatal four-way for the Intercontinental title, in which Jey Uso is also involved, and Jey Uso eventually wins the IC Championship, which I think he is slated to do personally. So that's what I think. But also, when you look at the Rumble, there's not a whole lot of people we know that are in it. This may be the most mysterious Rumble of recent years. So, thanks, Cameron. Let's talk to another patron. And this is Freeman. He says, interesting week in the news so far. I hope you don't mind, but I wanted to raise awareness for a very British issue with the latest WWE announcements, specifically Raw moving to Netflix. For those that don't know, to watch the broadcast TV live in the UK, you need to have a license. For many reasons, some of us have chosen not to purchase the TV license, and so we can't legally watch TV live. Netflix and other streaming platforms do not offer live shows, or if they do, they tend not to be from broadcast TV companies. This move to show WWE Raw live on Netflix would mean those using without a license could be prosecuted if they watch Raw, and admitting to using Netflix without a license could become grounds for a search warrant for TV licensing to inspect your devices, as it would no longer be a 100% safe app to use. So to any other British people out there, please be careful if you don't have a license to only watch the shows in its pre-recorded state. Okay, what is happening over there in the UK? I mean, it sounds like, you know, you're equating it to like armed robbery. I mean, I'm not a fan of people being freeloaders and all that kind of stuff. Like it happens, you know, it's the internet. But for real, they actually would inspect your devices. I mean, like, how does that work? I mean, did the police show up at your house, knocking on the door, say, hey, we've been notified. Are you watching TV illegally? I mean, how does that work? That sounds absurd. But I'm not saying you're lying, Freeman. It just sounds insane. It's from somebody in the United States. Here, you have to have a cable subscription, but there's always pirate links, right? There's always those links that we all know about that you can watch Raw for free. It may come, you know, you may have to go through some commercials and that kind of crap, or go through some ads you don't want to go through, but there's ways around it. And you have access to the same internet that, you know, I would assume I do. It sounds kind of crazy. I mean, I agree, Freeman. I mean, obviously, the laws and regulations are different there than in the United States. I'm not saying they're not. So, yeah, be careful. Don't do anything that, if the government actually cares about these things, would prosecute you. It's like, what, you know, imagine sitting in jail and you're looking at the guy who, you know, maybe just killed someone next to you. And he's looking at you. He's like, what are you in for? And it's like, oh, I was watching Raw on Netflix without a license. You know what I mean? It sounds ridiculous. I don't mean to be laughing, Freeman, but I don't know. I guess growing up in the U.S. like that it sounds crazy. Now here, of course, again, they do. You know, here, if you steal content, you know, you may have someone come after you, but like, it would have to be so egregious. I just can't imagine the police showing up to even like inspect. Yeah, I want to inspect your device. We got an anonymous tip. You know what I mean? All right. As an aside, as a British problem, Pete Dunne / Butch needs to never speak. The Brummie accent doesn't go over well on a wrestler, as it is far too many connotations over here, as Brummies are regarded as being nice people, even if a little dumb. And his accent is thick. But I am so glad they moved him away from the Brawling Brutes gimmick. It felt weird making an Englishman come out to a very Irish imaging, but I get the feeling WWE doesn't understand what the English people are like, and only Ireland and Scotland exist to them. I almost died a little inside when I saw that Tegan Knox from Wales has English flags as part of her outfit. Yeah, I mean, you're touching on a lot of things that I would imagine only those in the UK would spot. I mean, here in the US, I'd just be like, yeah, whatever, right? Like, I mean, it's just we're in different countries. We grew up different. We have different cultures. You're sensitive to that stuff. I can guarantee you 99% of the people in the United States look at it and go, who cares? Or they don't notice. It's just not something that's a big deal. But again, that's something over there that's, you know, something that you do care about and do notice. And that's nothing wrong with that at all. But again, it's just it's a difference in culture, difference in values. And I will say though, that I don't mind Pete Dunne taking over for Butch. I'd agree with that. I don't know what the heck a Brummie is though. Not sure. I don't know what a Brummie is, or I think Brummie is what you meant. It's like saying jumper. When I hear jumper here, I'm like, wait, there's a movie Jumper. You mean like a jumpsuit? So, I mean, obviously, if you're from the UK, a jumper is what a sweater is here. So I guess it's just kind of a lingo disconnect. All right. Back to more interesting things. The Rumble. I know everyone is doing their predictions, but I wanted to do some low-value predictions that I believe are 100% guaranteed to happen, and want your thoughts on how likely they are. Cody Rhodes will not enter the Rumble in the last 10. I would agree with that. That's not a something to me. That's actually not low value. Think about when Cody won last year. For God's sakes, he was number 30 and then bragged about it. He might have even said he went through 29 other men. I mean, I got to look back. He might have actually said that because everyone says that, and it's just ridiculous unless you're number 1 or 2. Which, by the way, number 2 has the same value as a number 1 in terms of going through the same number of guys or gals. But I would agree. Cody, if I was going to place him in a spot, probably like he'd come out close to like 17, 18. He's not going to be in the top 10, but he'll be in the late teens, I would say. All right. Matt Riddle will not return during the Rumble. I would totally agree. The Rumble will not be called off due to injury. Well, let's hope not. Nikki Cross will start out as number 1 or 2 and stand around doing nothing. I'm going to say no, only because I think they want to start the Rumble hot. They usually do on both men's and women's side. So Nikki Cross standing there doing nothing would probably not get the crowd going, and also she would just get instantly eliminated. I mean, whoever she's opposing the ring with should just throw her out. Jade Cargill will eliminate Nia Jax. I actually agree with that. They will tease Damage Control turning on Bayley, but will not pull the trigger. I may go a step further on that. Stay tuned for my preview and prediction show. Sheamus will not be in the Rumble. I would say 50-50. I haven't heard a whole lot of injury updates on Sheamus, but I hope he does come back, and I think it's a perfect place for him. The show will be amazing. Well, I would agree. I would agree that my predictions, or my expectations rather, of the show are pretty high. I mean, looking at the Rumble, the uncertainty, the questions, right now I expect to come out of there saying it's at least a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. So, all right, Freeman, thank you. Let's get to another patron here. This is AJ. And AJ says, as R-Truth would say, what's up? I just finished Raw and I don't understand what the point of the men's Money in the Bank briefcase is anymore. For a second straight year, the person who has it can't cash it in ever. I hope Damian would have cashed it in on Seth during his segment before Seth could relinquish the belt, but apparently Seth is healthy enough to keep going, so hopefully WWE doesn't waste it again like they did with Theory last year. I also learned Dusty Rhodes is Cody's father. Not sure if anyone knew that. I didn't know Dusty was Cody's dad until just this week. I mean, that was a bombshell that no one's talking about. I don't know if you guys even heard about that either. So like Dusty Rhodes, if you remember back in, the late 70s, Dusty Rhodes was a fairly big name in the wrestling industry. And he actually had a son, and that son was none other than Cody Rhodes. That is just, whew, I can't believe it. So thank you so much for bringing that up, AJ. I when they slipped that in, I'm like, whoa. And I had to pause the show. I paused the show because I had been taken back so much. And it took me a good 15 to 20 minutes to take some breaths, do some breathing exercises, and then come back because I was just completely floored. So thank you, AJ. Let's see. I wish Punk would have gone a little harder on him for also leaving WWE and never winning the title, but still a fun segment. Don't worry. This program is nowhere near over or even started yet. They had to save some goodies for later, right? Okay. I think Bayley, or rather, I hope Punk wins the Rumble and challenges Seth, but Cody will win and finish the dreaded and tired story against Orton. I think Bayley will win the women's side and pull a Batista, which seems to be the consensus pick, and I think it's the right decision. Final thought, if the first part wasn't too long, I thought it was funny they didn't have Cody's hideous neck tattoo on the 2K cover. Every photo of him was his left side, or had his Revolutionary War general robe covering it. Thanks and enjoy the Rumble. Still it doesn't make it a ton better for me. I don't want to see his stupid smiling face. But yeah, the neck tattoo, to me, I don't even enjoy that. I don't think it's good looking. It's like he's trying to be a tough guy. I don't know. I don't want to go on a Cody diatribe, so I'll pull back here. But thank you so much, AJ. Okay. Another patron, Bad Fish, and he says, "Hey, Matt, just watching Raw and once again realized that they're really cheating Chad Gable out of an awesome solo career. I like the Alpha Academy, but it seems like they're holding him back from really hitting his stride. The guy is an incredible athlete and always puts on a great match with a lot of holy crap moments. He deserves a title. Do you think he'll ever get another shot at gold? I think he will. He should. I mean, if he won the Intercontinental Championship, I wouldn't have batted an eye. He was actually slated for a fourth match with Gunther. Remember that? During the Intercontinental Championship celebration where Gunther and his cronies were in suits and we had Chad Gable confront them again, and that led to nothing. So I think he is deserving of a major championship. Yes. Chad Gable, every time you see him, you're like, oh, wow. I forgot how good he is. Because he is just amazing in the ring. So I don't think, I mean, his career is not over yet by a long shot, but, there is reason to be concerned right now where he's at from a totem pole standpoint. All right, let's keep going. Okay. We have somebody who I haven't heard from in a while. This is another patron. This is Thomas, I believe from Montreal, Thomas Franco. He did I think it was the Chamber last year. It's been a year since you've been on the show, I think. Man, time goes so fast. All right, so Thomas says, it's been quite a minute since I've written into the mailbag. I want to start off by saying Happy New Year to all the listeners, and I hope you're having an amazing 2024. On to the Rumble. This is the most intriguing and unpredictable Rumble I've ever witnessed. On the men's side, there are so many stories and unexpected Rumble entries we can get. On the women's side, there's a lot of people gunning for Rhea's title, finally. I'm going to go with Cody to win the Rumble and challenge Roman at WrestleMania, and I'm going to go with Becky to win the Rumble and challenge Rhea, since we got the tease a couple weeks ago. The women's Rumble was the hardest to predict because there's a strong case for Bayley winning as well. Yeah, that's... But you know what? As I always say, there are two paths here for the men and women. The Rumble winner is one path, and likely the Chamber winner is another path. So just because your favorite person doesn't win the Rumble doesn't mean they're not main eventing WrestleMania. You know, I'm not saying you, Thomas. Obviously, you know that, but I think sometimes we lose sight of that as fans, generally. Okay, let's see here. Logan Paul versus KO for the U.S. title. Logan retains with brass knucks cheap shot. Oh, that's going to be fun. Yes, I actually really like that because he's been complaining about Kevin Owens using an unfair weapon with a cast that's actually more than justified that he wears because he has a broken damn hand. Which you would think, by the way, that doctors and medical staff and the medical needs of their wrestlers would supersede any complaints that Logan Paul has about Kevin Owens using that cast as a weapon, but that's neither here nor there. And I'm not angry about it, but it would be extremely hypocritical and funny if Logan Paul uses brass knucks to knock out Kevin Owens and retain. I would love that. I think Kevin Owens, it would be perfect. A perfect finish. Okay, the Fatal 4 for the Undisputed title. Roman retains clean, and we get Rock coming out to confront Roman after the match. It'll be a fascinating weekend. That's all for me. Keep up the great work with the podcast, and we'll talk soon. Well, thank you, Thomas. It's been too long. All righty, we have another patron. This is Charlie from Milwaukee, and his predictions go like this for the Rumble. Bayley will win with the Women's Rumble, and it'll be over Bianca, thus setting up a Bayley versus Io championship match at WrestleMania. Also, I think Naomi, AJ Lee, Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, and Charlotte Flair will all make surprise entries. Okay, I can kind of kill at least one of them. Charlotte Flair ain't happening. I mean, she just blew out her knee. She had surgery like 3 weeks ago from an ACL tear, which is going to take, 6 months to come back minimum. Even with Charlotte Flair's incredible recovery she's done thus far, she seems to be on a John Cena Royal Rumble trajectory return. Remember that whole deal? It was in New York City, I believe, when John Cena came back and won the Rumble that year. That's not happening. 0 chance Charlotte Flair comes out. Alexa Bliss I could also maybe put to the side only because she seems to be very content being a mom right now. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And it just seems that way. Naomi, I would say, is a very high chance. AJ Lee is probably the second highest. And then Sasha Banks is probably the third highest. But all right, unfortunately, Logan Paul will retain the U.S. title with the help from some brass knucks. Oh, okay. Are you guys talking to each other? Hopefully this will set up Logan Paul versus LA Knight at WrestleMania. You are speaking my language there, sir. CM Punk wins the Rumble match over President of Raw, Cody Rhodes, a.k.a. Stardust. Also, The Rock, Andrade, Keith Lee, Aleister Black, Big E, X-Pac, and Hulk Hogan are all surprise entrants. I don't think The Rock will be a surprise entrant. I think it's more likely if he's there that he does something directly with Roman Reigns. There's no need for The Rock to fiddle around with the Rumble. He can just go straight to the end boss. As far as the rest of them, I mean, it's all very possible. And I heard Hogan on Raw directly say maybe he's got one more run. Please, Hogan, for the love of God, please don't. Please. Please. For all of us. I speak on behalf of humanity. Please don't. And your health, for God's sakes. I mean, you're really like 75 years old. Please. All right. CM Punk wins the Men's Royal Rumble over President Cody. Oh, I said that. Where I lost my spot then. Randy Orton wins the Undisputed Championship by pinning AJ Styles with some help from The Rock. This will perfectly set up Rock versus Roman without a title, and Cody can finally finish his story and then try to figure out what people want to talk about now. Finally, I'm going to SmackDown in Milwaukee on March 22nd and would love to do a weekend review with you. Happy Rumble and go Red Sox. All right, Charlie, very good. Remind me about that show. I'm going to forget for sure. There's just no way I'm remembering that. If I was smart and I wasn't lazy on top of it, I'm dumb and I'm also really unmotivated, is that I would have a calendar like Google Calendar and have the effort to put in, I'm doing a show with this person on this day. Except I'm extremely tired and lazy and unmotivated. So all three of those, it's not a good combination, right? So I'm relying on you guys to do the things that I should probably be doing just at a base level. So thanks, Charlie. Okay, we're almost through the mailbag in terms of the emails. So I'm trying to keep going, guys. Some of you are writing emails that are, I mean, I'll be flat out. They're too long. All right, let's go to a shorter email here. Let's go to John. Hello there. A couple questions and observations. I think they're holding Priest cash in for something huge. Maybe it's this Saturday at the Rumble against the Fatal 4-Way winner, which would throw everyone off guard. But I think the more likely scenario is Rollins beats Punk at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. Priest cashes in there and wins. Just wondering your thoughts on that. They're going to have to pull the trigger with Truth. Either crap or get off the pot pretty soon. I mean, he's 8 months into the contract? I mean, they've only got a few months left where they can legally use it. So that's very possible that they have Priest do that at WrestleMania. But wouldn't that kind of sour Punk and Rollins for a match that people have been talking about for a while? They're going to spoil it with a Money in the Bank briefcase cash in. It sounds like I'm being a bit condescending for the finish, but I mean, that's Damian Priest isn't exactly Seth Rollins or CM Punk, but stranger things have happened. Also, just laid a few dollars on Randy to win the title at 8-1 odds. I saw Roman is minus 3,000 to win, which means you have to put down 3,000 just to win 100, which is insane. I agree. Do sportsbooks find out ahead of time the booking decisions or no? I noticed that sometimes underdogs do win, but I've never seen a massive underdog of Orton's odds to win a match. Biggest underdog I actually saw win was Roman Reigns last year at WrestleMania when he was plus 300. Thank you. Love the show, John. Thank you, John. I mean, I don't think they have any insight as to what the creative is. They just kind of follow the money is what they do. They see what people are betting, and the numbers represent the betting. The numbers represent where the smart money, or rather the majority of the money, is going. And it has some kind of formula to calculate behind the scenes, and it spits out 3,000, like you said, which means you have to spend $3,000 to win 100 if it happens. That is insane. Thank you, John. All right. Where are we going? Let's talk to Liam. Liam says, Royal Rumble has a very small card, but it also is better as more of these title matches can be on Raw and SmackDown before and after, such as Damage Control taking on Katana Chance and Caden Carter. Also, Raw Gunther versus Kofi Kingston. With the New Day, it is great to have them less childish. They just need a new theme song. I mean, that's step one. Change your theme song, but that's to me like a drop in the bucket for what I would do with the New Day, which is really essentially just ban them. And I would just completely have them all go their separate ways, but that's me. What is your prediction with Seth if he drops the title at WrestleMania? I mean, it depends on who, against who, and what circumstance. Is there a cash-in? I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I'd need more info to answer that question. Lastly, I'm going to the Elimination Chamber as I live in Perth. And do you still think Roman and or Seth can be there to defend? Or maybe even a defense in the chamber? I will have a sign advertising your podcast as I'm sitting ringside. I've been listening to your show since 2019. Thank you lots. Have a good day. I appreciate that, Liam. If you get me on the show, having people holding up signs for my show is kind of surreal, but I really appreciate it if you get any airtime at all. I really do appreciate that. Now, as far as a defense in the chamber, I think the World Heavyweight Championship could absolutely be defended inside the chamber, or you have the number one contender come out of the chamber. Like the chamber is, and there's only going to be 2 chamber matches, which means one for the women, one for the men, which means the winner is essentially just earning an opportunity at the champion at WrestleMania. It's like the Royal Rumble's exact opportunity, except you have to earn it in a chamber instead of in a Royal Rumble environment. So you could have a title defense in the chamber. You could have Roman defend it. But I think the more likely scenario is that you have a number one contendership on the line of sorts. But thank you so much, Liam. Let's keep going. And this is, let's see, this is from Noah. Noah says, hey man, hope you're well. Just wanted to talk about something I've seen today. John Cena seems to be hinting at potentially returning for a heel run to have a match against Randy, or could be suggesting that Randy turns heel to face him on his Instagram with some cryptic posts. Personally, I don't want to see John Cena lose again, and Randy doesn't need it at this point in his career, but would obviously be such a huge match. Can't see any other direction for Randy at WrestleMania at the moment either, so maybe this is where he's headed. Thoughts? No, I think that match could be the final match of John Cena's career. John Cena has been somehow people are reporting this as breaking news, which is very fascinating to me. Over the last week or so, John Cena, I think in Impulsive, which is Logan Paul's podcast, he's been making noise that, I can sense the end's coming. I'm not going to overstay my welcome. I want to be out by 50 years old. All things we kind of knew about John Cena. You talk about a non-news statement. John Cena feels like he's at the end of his career. Oh, really? I thought he was just getting going. Of course he is. I mean, I don't know why people are reporting this as some revelation. But as far as his final opponent, Randy Orton makes absolutely all the sense in the world. And I would absolutely have Randy be the heel. Give it a throwback. That's how the dynamic worked in the past. That'd be perfect. But do I think it's going to happen at this WrestleMania? I do not. Also very excited about Netflix, as the UK fans seem to be benefiting the most with us getting all the weekly shows and PLEs under one roof. That's all. Hope you enjoy the Rumble, Noah. Well, thanks, Noah. I hope you do too. Okay. Let's let's see here. I believe we have one more email. I may shorten this there, King Scully. I may shorten it. We'll see how I feel. All right. He says, hey, man, how you doing? First email in 2024. And as Stained once sung, it's been a while. Oh, I know that song. It's been a while. I don't know the rest of the words. I know the song, though. Oh, God. Secondhand embarrassment is probably filling your veins right now. Okay. Anyhow, with the Rumble approaching, one thing is annoying. The sucking up to Cody Rhodes, especially from Michael Cole. As much as I like Cole, he needs to go back and learn his wrestling history. He keeps mentioning back-to-back winners and just keeps saying the name Stone Cold Steve Austin. On this past Raw, he clearly said only one man has won back-to-back Royal Rumbles, and that man is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Lies. Hogan won the Rumble in 90, 90, and 91. HBK won them in 95 and 96. On that note, I hope Cody doesn't win again. I mean, this whole finish the story malarkey is a load of poo. When he wins the title and so-called finishes his story, will he ride off into the sunset? Of course not. His story will have only just begun. I feel like headbutting the wall as I write this. Every time I see... here, listen. King Scully, every time I see Cody Rhodes come out, I want to bang my head, not just off, but through a wall. So I'm with you on that. Okay? But you're exactly right. I mean, Hulk Hogan did go back-to-back. HBK did go back-to-back. He does keep mentioning Stone Cold. I mean, I'm not... I thought Cole said that Austin is... he keeps mentioning Austin because Austin is the most fresh in our minds. And he's the biggest name in all of pro wrestling, bar none. So I think they're trying to equate Cody with what he's going to accomplish on Sunday, presumably, or Saturday, presumably, with what Stone Cold has done. I thought that Cody, or rather Michael Cole, did give credit to Hogan and HBK, though. I'm almost positive that they didn't just brush that over, but you could be right. You could be. Anyway, who cares about CM Punk? Oh, God. I've recently become a big fan of Drew McIntyre. I love his work, his promos, and to be honest, I believe he owned both Cody and Punk on the mic. Hopefully, Drew can get back to having his old theme song, Broken Dreams, and become World Heavyweight Champion. R-Truth is doing a superb job, as always. What a guy, and hopefully Randy can win the title at the Rumble. Thank you, Matt, WWE Podcast listeners, and look out for my latest episode with Maintenance Mav as part of the WrestleMagic team. Only on the WWE Podcast. We had fun talking about the worst gimmicks in wrestling history. Yes, I do see that. I do see that in my mailbox there, King Scully. I will take a listen, and that'll be up probably sometime after this show on Thursday. All right.
Podcast world, this is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show, recorded to you live on a Wednesday morning. And before we get to the Veer Mahan report, I got exciting news. I guess you could say after what feels like years, after so many months, it has finally happened, and that is none other than Ron Killings, a.k.a. R-Truth, has finally followed me on Twitter, a.k.a. X. It has finally happened. I have been putting out my little tweet mentions to R-Truth to say, hey, maybe one day you could follow me. He celebrated his birthday a couple of days ago on January 19th, and it was just a great thing how everybody was just saying happy birthday to R-Truth. But my birthday wish from me to him was for R-Truth to finally follow me, and it has happened. I am so excited. One of the greatest comedy treasures in all of professional wrestling, none other than R-Truth, has followed me. Now let's get to your favorite show to come in every single week on the Mailbag, and I'm talking about the Veer Mahan report. Now, the Veer Mahan report took place this past Monday night on Monday Night Raw, live from New Orleans, in I guess in some sort of arena called the Smoothie King Center. I don't know what that is, but is the home of the New Orleans Pelicans, and of course, like always, the initiator of my guy Veer Mahan saga and the modern-day Maharaja did not appear on Monday Night Raw, but I must say, for the past couple of weeks, none other than the modern-day Maharaja has been riding high on the momentum of being sharing the same rings with none other than The Rock, being put in this World Heavyweight Championship match against Seth freaking Rollins, and how the whole Twitter universe was just supported Jinder Mahal as none other than Tony Khan was talking some smack about my guy. But whatever the case may be, I want to see a continuation of this group of the Initiator. Everybody says finish the story, but for me, I want the creative team to continue the story of what they have in store for Jinder Mahal, for Veer Mahan, and for Saga of the Initiator. Now, with that being said, this is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Enjoy the Royal Rumble. It should be a special one down in Tampa. Be kind to one another. Stay used to my friends, and peace.
All right, DJ. Yeah, I know that you know that there was actually an appearance by Sangha Veer Mahan on Raw, but yeah, it wasn't anything super significant, so we'll let it slide this time, okay? We'll just for this one time, only because it's the Rumble season, and Rumble is a few days away, that I'm going to let it slide. But no, of course, I mean, there was nothing really of any significance other than, you know, they made a quick appearance and that was it, just to remind you, oh yeah, they didn't totally disappear. They're just almost, you know, they're almost doing a disappearing act. They're like in the process of vanishing. But that said, yeah, I mean, glad you got a follow from Ron Killings. God, he seems like such a genuinely good guy, doesn't he? Like a genuine human being. And that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, he is one of the funniest guys, of course, that we know as wrestling fans. But, you know, I almost feel for him that he's looked at as just a comedy character. A very successful one, and he's making a boatload of money on merch right now. I mean, we are literally as fans revolutionizing his life right now, because you know that his royalty check next quarter is going to be like, you know, most of our annual salaries times 2 or 3 or 4, whatever you make. I mean, I'm not sure, you know, but you get my point. We have just changed R-Truth's life with that royalty check coming. So I'm happy for him. I mean, and he is continuing to do great work, but he is just known kind of as a comedy act, you know, let me up, comedic timing, which is all very true. I actually would advocate for him to win a title for a short period, not as a joke, but as kind of like the miracle kid that's at 50 some years old. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I still want an R-Truth title victory, a title run, even if it's for a few months. I think he's deserving of it. Alrighty, thank you, DJ. Let's get to our next patron.
Hello, WWE Podcast. This is Sharon from Israel, and Matt, I got some news for you. Randy Orton never is going to win in the Royal Rumble. Is never, ever going to win the championship from Roman Reigns. Please, Matt, stop it. He's not going to do it. Stop putting this fantasy things in our mind. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Please. Every show you are saying it. Every time you said that maybe this is what should have been. But if we are going to speak on what should have been, we need to speak that maybe Roman Reigns should have been a champion at all. Or maybe that Cody Rhodes should not win the Royal Rumble twice a row. And this is also a thing that would happen. For sure. Cody Rhodes would win the Royal Rumble 2 times in a row. Damn it, Matt. This Royal Rumble, it's so predictable. We all know what will happen. It will be a little bit surprises that some new wrestlers will come, but man, it's so predictable. This is one thing. Second thing, like you, I was so disgusted from seeing Cody Rhodes on the cover on the WWE 2K24 game. Really? They also put this stupid language of, oh, I got to finish my story. They put it in the all career mode. I mean, now finish the story is the freaking tagline of this game. And they put the all Rhodes family with Goldust and Dusty Rhodes as a version of the game, and you see also like Stardust and Cody Rhodes with the glass mask, and this is like a special version of the game. Play the Rhodes family. We don't want the Rhodes family anymore. Stop it. I don't want Cody Rhodes anymore. Ay. Anyway. So, I don't know. I really hope that Roman Rock will happen WrestleMania instead of Cody Roman, sorry. But it will be Cody Roman in WrestleMania. So it won't be Orton that winning Roman, and Cody will win the Royal Rumble 2 times in a row. And we can go to sleep from now until another WrestleMania, and we don't know what will happen, and we won't be surprised. That's it. Have a good week, and bye.
All right, Sharon. So a couple things. Hope you drove safe, number one. Number two, yeah, whatever version of Cody has his face on it, that to me, that's not a selling point. That's how I know what version I'm not going to be buying, is the one that has Cody's face on it, if there is such a version. Although everything is a digital download nowadays. I remember the days where, you know, we'd wait out in line for Best Buy or GameStop, or where, again, these are all United States stores. I don't know if there's a Best Buy or a GameStop where you live internationally. But that said, I mean, I'm sure you have Walmart. But that's my point, is like, I don't think there are a lot of people that wait for physical copies of games anymore. But yeah, I mean, I certainly won't be getting the one with Cody's stupid smiling face on it. But your point about Randy Orton, and you're complaining that I say Randy Orton could win. Now, I'm not saying he's going to. I'm not even saying that's my prediction. I'm saying it's at least possible. And I know that you don't think there's any chance, so stop saying it. Well, why is there no chance? The Rock, you want Rock Roman, do you not? You just said you did. But you also, I think, don't want Rock versus Roman for the championship. That would be a bad decision, because it would tip the scales into who's going to win. Rock doesn't need the belt. There's no chance he's winning if the belt's on the line. So you get rid of the belt the night that he's defending it, which is at the Royal Rumble, because the reports are Roman's not going to be at the Chamber. So this is your only chance to get the belt off of Roman Reigns, is Saturday night. So if everybody wants Rock Roman, and some people are saying now, oh, well, actually, it's going to be for next year's WrestleMania. I don't even want to hear that. I've heard that narrative lately, that The Rock, who was on, I don't know, he was on some sports show or something, and he said that he's a long game guy, and some people are interpreting that as, well, next year, Rock Roman. I don't even want to get into that. Okay, I'm dismissing that narrative right now. If it's happening this year, and you don't want Rock Roman for the championship, your only option is to have Roman drop the belt at the Royal Rumble. You have him not involved in the decision. It saves face, so he can say he was never pinned or submitted to lose the belt. Paul Heyman could lose his mind over it. It would be a massive. I mean, think about Twitter and X. Think about Instagram, any social media platform. People would lose their minds. The Rock could be the one who is responsible for it, thereby setting up Rock Roman, and then you could have Cody Rhodes in the main event still, but just against Randy Orton instead of Roman. That's why I'm saying there's at least a chance to be discussed. I'm not saying it's for sure. I'm not saying it's even likely. I'm just saying there's at least a significant chance, and a chance that makes sense to happen, for Randy Orton to win. And then have Randy carry it just for a couple months, and then have Cody finish his bedtime story, and then we can all go to sleep. So that's why I'm saying, and I bring it up, is because it kind of makes sense. So that's why I do it. So you're really not going to like my prediction show there. Yeah, I really don't think you're going to like my prediction show, Sharon. I'll just leave it at that. If you didn't like my logic now, you're really not going to like it on Friday when I drop my preview show. All right. Well, anyway, hope you're doing well. Hope you're safe. Hope the baby and the wife are well. All right. Let's continue and see who's next.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore. So I wanted to talk about this. I'm listening to your current state of WWE. I listened to the this week WWE as well from your show about Becky Lynch and how within her promo with Rhea last week on Raw, and how she felt. So it wasn't, to me, since she was terrible in the mic, which I think is because she was too vulnerable. She was like showing not weakness, but showing a softer side to start being edgy and not being cool like she was before. And I don't know if it's because she's been on top for so long that Rhea Ripley has just overshadowed Becky for cheers and popularity at this point, and Becky's been in the undercard for an entire year, facing Bayley and then the Trish stuff, and then going back to NXT, which I thought would have helped her. But for me, I think when it comes down to it, Becky's a great wrestler, is a great wrestler, but Rhea's a great character. That's what people are interested in. And Rhea's a great wrestler as well, but just in terms of credibility right now, is that Rhea Ripley's been a fantastic character and Becky's been a fantastic wrestler throughout the last year. But so I would be really interested how these two are going to collide with each other at WrestleMania, how fans are going to, what fans are going to do at WrestleMania. To make cheer for Rhea a lot more than Becky, that is possible too. I'm willing to give it another chance. Hopefully tonight, Becky can do, it could be something different. She can restart the situation with Rhea starting tonight, and hopefully moving forward when this feud progresses, moving forward in the future, hopefully Becky can come back and get better on the mic, hopefully with Rhea Ripley, because I know that she can, but it's something that has been off. I will agree with Becky, but hopefully feuding with Rhea, it can get her back again into a great vibe again as a promo perspective, hopefully. So that's what she said of last week's promo between Rhea and Becky. So I just hope it'll get better moving forward. This was just a buffer, so hopefully that's what happens. But that's what I would say about that. But that's it. This call. Bye.
Kyle, okay. So I don't think it's the fact that that Becky Lynch had a bad promo last week with Rhea because she's not edgy anymore. It just comes down to a bad delivery of a promo that felt extremely scripted. That's what it comes down to in my mind. And I think she's a very good wrestler. Becky is very good. Is her character and has her character been kind of boring for a little while? Yeah. She clearly tried to change at least a little bit of something up with that deep red hair she has now, and I don't hate it. I'm not blaming her for it. I'm not making light of it at all. It's just I think even she recognizes her character needs a kick in the ass right now. I don't know if that means turning her heel or just kind of evolving her babyface character, but the fact is, I don't know what they can do between now and WrestleMania that would get the fans to, especially at WrestleMania, to totally turn their back on Rhea Ripley, who have been and have told the WWE organization as a whole they are ready to embrace Rhea Ripley. What they can do between now and Mania if Becky and Rhea go one-on-one, to get people to boo Rhea Ripley over Becky Lynch. I think it's going to be a big struggle. The fans are ready for Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley feels like a breath of fresh air when you look at her. In terms of her character, as you said, she's a great character. She is. I don't even think we've seen the best days of Rhea Ripley yet, especially on the microphone. So I don't see Becky Lynch getting the majority of support at WrestleMania. It could be one of those, Hogan Rock moments where you expect as the heel they're going to get booed, and it ends up being the opposite. and then the announcers have to compensate for it. So we'll see. I mean, it may not be on that scale. I'm not saying they are Rock and Hogan equivalents, but it could be that type of dynamic where the announcers have to struggle through explaining away why the crowd is doing what they're doing. But you would think they're kind of ready for it. This isn't something that is going to be a secret. I mean, you can see the writing on the wall at this point. But all right, let's get to our next voicemail here. We got a few more, and then we'll wrap it up.
Oh, hey, Matt, it's Devin from Australia here. Hope you're well. Looking forward to the Royal Rumble weekend, so that'll be exciting, and looking forward to your prediction show. Hey, I've just got just a question for you to answer, and obviously in this fantasy world of WWE. If I ask you, who will dethrone all of our current champions? So that being the US Intercontinental World Champion, World Heavyweight Champion, and then the Women's Championships, as well as the Tag Team Championships. Just a fun question. Let me know what you think. Cheers. Bye.
Bevan, you always got to make me work on my own show. I can't just get a softball question like, who do you think's going to win the Rumble? You gotta ask like a multifaceted. You're like the person on the test who creates the question that's like 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E. You're that person. But all right, let me answer this. Okay, if I had to answer right now who I think is going to dethrone every champion that we have, I think Jey Uso takes out Gunther. Jey Uso will become the new Intercontinental Champion. I'm not saying when that's going to happen. I just generally think that will happen. I mean, Randy Orton has a very solid chance. If not, Cody Rhodes beats Roman at WrestleMania for the championship. I think when it comes to the world title, I honestly think Damian Priest could be that person to cash in, whether it is after CM Punk wins it or loses it at WrestleMania and we get a cash in. So I think Damian Priest is probably the next person, because going from a babyface to a heel makes sense. Punk is not a heel, so there's that dynamic supporting my theory. I think that when it comes to the women's titles, women's tag titles, I think you're going to look at probably the two women, maybe Dakota Kai and Asuka, or Asuka and Kairi Sane of Damage Control. They stepped up to the women's tag team champions last week, so they're probably the most likely. When it comes to the women's world, or rather the WWE Women's Championship, I think Bayley takes it from Io at WrestleMania. As far as the who can beat Rhea Ripley, god dang, I don't even know. I mean, Jade Cargill, I don't think it's happening for over a year. So it's hard for me to predict who could beat her when I don't see anyone on the roster on Raw that could do it. So difficult. I hate to kind of pass on that one, but I don't know the person's name. That person may not even be in WWE right now. Too bad Ronda Rousey's not around when she was hot. Imagine a hot Ronda Rousey when it's actually fun to see her in WWE versus Rhea Ripley. That'd be fun. And what did I forget? The U.S. title, LA Knight takes that, I think. Again, these aren't very interesting. A lot of these aren't interesting picks, but they're the ones that make the most sense at this point. And the men's tag team championships, I mean, I would probably say maybe even the Viking Raiders, when they reunite, take them. It's possible. But as always, at WrestleMania, you're going to have a multi-team fatal four-way, fatal six-way for the men's tag team titles. So, I mean, but it's also around the waist of the Judgment Day, so you'd think it's a babyface team. It could be DIY. DIY is very possible. But, all right, great question. Thanks so much, Devin, and I hope you are well and enjoy the Rumble. All righty, let's continue with a couple more.
Hey, Matt, it's Brad in Florida. So I just hear about this morning about the WWE Raw Netflix deal. And I know how excited everyone is. You know, WWE got, $5 billion, and it's 10 years, and it's on Netflix. there are a few things, honestly, man. I know everyone loves streaming services and how great everyone thinks that they are. And I have a lot of them. I actually have Hulu, Disney Plus, and Netflix, and whatever. I also have cable. But to me, I think it takes away from a few things. First of all, Raw is the longest running show on television. That ends. You want to say not a big deal? That's fine. Fair. But I think, honestly, man, like, these streaming services can be a ripoff. And now you're forced to pay $25 a month between Peacock and Netflix to watch WWE. Now, to some people, they might say, oh, I already have Netflix. This is the greatest thing ever. But there might come a point where Netflix, as they continue to increase their prices and whatever, where you're like, hey, I don't want to have them. And I don't know. I just think it's annoying to have to pay for all of these individual streaming services. Like, if you want everything like I get with cable now, for instance, I'm a big sports fan. I get, the SEC, I get the ACC, I get, every single game on cable, whatever. Like, if I were to cut the cord, I would have to pay for Paramount, Peacock, Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max. I mean, the list goes on and on. Amazon Prime. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And to me, at a certain point, you're paying a tremendous amount for these streaming services. And to me, they're not as convenient as turning on your television and being able to flip channels. Now, maybe that'll change in the future with streaming, but right now I have to open a Netflix app, stream it to my TV. Then if I want to change to something else to check a score of a game or whatever, I have to then open another app, go to a different thing, load up that stream, load up that feed, whatever. Honestly, it's not, to me, optimized right now. And it's not that great. Now, the other thing is that everyone's accustomed to watching Raw at 8 p.m. Eastern on Monday nights. Everyone's kind of on the same page about it. Or if you DVR it or you start watching it at 8:30 and whatever. But pretty much everyone's watching.
Hey, Brad, good to hear from you. You got cut off a little bit as we hit that 3-minute mark. But, you bring up a unique issue. It's a first world problem, isn't it? That we have too much of a good thing floating around. It is a problem that's, if somebody comes along and solves, is going to be a very rich person or organization, because there are so many services out there. We do, as consumers in America, go, well, it's just $9.99 a month. What's another $4.99? And then you go commercial free, and suddenly it's $19.99, and then you do that a few more times, and you're not really saving anything from a cable bill. Now, I will say, though, that is this really any different, though, from kind of the ripoff of the cable subscriptions we dealt with before streaming was a thing? I mean, think about it. I remember my cable bill. I had Time Warner Cable up here, which eventually became Comcast. It was, hey, you got to get this package, and you only really wanted one channel. There was no such thing as like a la carte, pick your channel. So you would have to, do some kind of sports package to get like the Yes Network up here, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network, right? Like that's what I wanted. But you were essentially paying for a whole bunch of channels you didn't need. And you're like, oh, this is such a scam. And so you're paying $150 a month for, and then you got to pay like per box. You want a DVR in your room. You want a DVR downstairs. You want a DVR in your living room. And all of a sudden you're paying an extra 10. The next thing you know, you're paying $200 a month for cable and a sports package and some extra DVRs. And it's kind of the same thing here, except in a digital platform. It's something that now we're I don't know if we're really saving money. It's just we're getting kind of, I don't know if scammed is the word, because we all know what we're getting into. Scam implies that we are being duped. We're not being duped. We know as consumers what we're getting into. But it's kind of the same thing where we're paying for a whole bunch of stuff that we don't need. And we just, if someone could produce a service that's a la carte, period, like I just want this. I want to be able to watch Raw. I want to be able to watch SmackDown. I want to be able to watch the Yes Network. I want ESPN. I want my local channels, ABC, CNN, whatever you watch, Fox News, whatever. You want that, and that's it. And you pay for whatever those channels or those streaming rights are, and that's it. But the problem is all those streaming services and channels are tied in with massive contracts that are exclusive with this network, that network, this streaming service. So you got to get the whole streaming service to get just this little thing you want. It's the same problem we had with cable, just now streaming. So it may be more accessible because now we all have streaming devices wherever we go, but expense-wise, it's not really different. I'm cutting the cable, I'm saving a bunch of money, which is kind of the narrative I bought into as well. But are you really? Are we really? You know, it's add up all the streaming. I mean, I added it up the other day and I'm like, whoosh, yikes. That's brutal. You know, you think, oh, well, I used to spend $150. Now I'm only spending like $20 a month. No, you're not, because everyone, you look at it, you're like, I'll do Hulu. No, but I don't want the ads. So there's another, then I need Netflix. Oh, well, wait, I need Paramount. Oh, crap, I want HBO Max. We got whatever show you like to watch on there, right? So same problem, just kind of a different platform. Alrighty, let's continue. Is this our final voicemail? I think it is. I think it's Alex the French guy, so let's close it out.
Alex the French guy here, your current European champion. What a week to be, what a year to be a wrestling fan at the moment. Just before I start by the Raw, because I just watched Raw, and I want to welcome the new co-host, Amanda from the UK. Welcome as the co-host. And it's a pleasure to hear some European, and maybe now my European title is in jeopardy, is in danger. So yeah, pleasure to hear from new co-hosts. Yeah, and about wrestling this week, I would say with the Royal Rumble coming up is so important. So the fact that we have high expectation about the Royal Rumble, I hope that it doesn't ruin our show. So, because the problem is in the Royal Rumble match, we have such high expectations. Same goes with the Fatal 4-Way match with Roman Reigns. Ultimately, we have some speculation going on about like Roman Reigns losing the title. Also, Seth Rollins keeping the title on him. I think it's a mistake. I don't know why they did this, because they don't need the title. What I think is the narrative that they want to push is that CM Punk's going to win the Royal Rumble, so he can challenge Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and ultimately The Rock will face Roman Reigns for the title. So he will keep the title at the Fatal 4-Way, because like we are having those speculations, and yeah, I think it's Anthony DeMarcos saying that it was the first claiming that Randy Orton should win the title. I think it was on the show, and then now someone's speculating about that. But I think the reality is that we are going to have Roman Reigns retain and CM Punk winning the Royal Rumble. But I hope we get a surprise, because like I don't think CM Punk and versus Seth Rollins needs to be for a title match. Not at all. So yeah, that's only my opinion, and I really want to watch Royal Rumble, but I won't have so many expectations about that, so I won't be disappointed, but I'm really looking forward for it, and have a nice week, guys.
Alex, yeah, so I hear you. Well, first of all, your European Championship, since WWE doesn't do intergender matches, I think you're safe. So there's that. But when it comes to CM Punk and Seth Rollins not needing the championship, I mean, it doesn't, but at the same time, that's been CM Punk's sticking point. I mean, how many times do you hear him complain after he left WWE that all he wanted to do was main event WrestleMania? And I think that was maybe one of the biggest things he negotiated into his contract is, I am main eventing WrestleMania. I'm doing this my way, my time, it's time for me to get what I want now. Obviously with a give and take, but that was probably one of his big points, asks, was to do that. And I think you could only main event WrestleMania if you were in a championship match. And the only way to do that is to keep the belt on Seth. You also laid the groundwork for it at Survivor Series, and really well before that in interviews. But to me, I think you still keep the belt on Seth just so you can get to Punk and Seth. And Punk, I really believe, is probably going to win the Elimination Chamber match, the one that doesn't exist yet. And that will probably be the person who's going to face Seth Rollins, and Punk will be the one to ultimately come out and be the one to face Punk or Seth at WrestleMania for the world title. My guess is Punk doesn't win the Rumble, but you could still go that route as well. But that's just my thoughts. So thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate the thoughts. I hope you enjoy the Rumble. I hope everybody enjoys the Rumble. It's certainly going to be one that is memorable, hopefully for all the right reasons. So, all right, I'm going over my I'm 15 minutes over what I said. But that's how much I appreciate you guys. Is going over my time to get all of your thoughts in, give my thoughts and respond. But big week, obviously. Tomorrow we'll be posting a new show, and then we will be doing. Friday is the preview and prediction show, and then Saturday is the Rumble and SmackDown review. So if it's a big deal, I will be doing a review show right after the Rumble, but we'll see how much it motivates me to do it. So consider going ad-free on Patreon or on Apple Podcasts. There's both of them. Both the platforms offer free trials for 7 days. A great way to get yourself really into the podcast and go ad-free for the entire Royal Rumble weekend. So, alrighty. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it. As always, take care. I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.